George Clooney and Brad Pitt's new movie, Wolves, is on Apple TV Plus September 27th.
That's where I want you to be now.
So if you want to see George Clooney and Brad Pitt, go to Apple TV Plus.
You got to start the story there.
Or if you want to see Brad Pitt and George Clooney, go to Apple TV Plus.
I am enjoying the show.
And if you want to see their new movie, Wolves,
You can't do it, I'm going to help you out. I can do it, so do it.
definitely go to Apple TV Plus.
Admit it, it's cool. Okay, fine, it was very cool.
Wolves, streaming September 27th on Apple TV Plus. Rated R.
Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
The following is a presentation of News Radio, KMAN, your home for high school sports. This is Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio, KMAN.
Boy, I tell you, it was a long night for a lot of teams last night, with all the storms popping up across the region and throughout the state. But some teams are waking up here on this Saturday morning very happy, particularly Manhattan High and Riley County. Two very good games last night that we had for you. Of course, Manhattan High here on K-Man and Riley County over on our sister station, B1047. Riley County had to wait a little bit for sure. Had over an hour and a half delay because of lightning, but in the end, they come away with a victory over Chapman to move to 3-0 on the season. And we'll obviously get more into that game later on in the program, as well as hearing from Riley County head coach Erik Willimon. Good morning and welcome into another edition of Scoreboard Saturday here on News Radio KMAN. AJ Shaw with you here on this Saturday morning. It is already week 3 of the high school football season, and boy, what a night it was for games. And as I just mentioned, it was a very good evening for a lot of teams, particularly the Manhattan Indians, who went down to Hayes America and took on a much improved Hayes team that in the past Manhattan has definitely had their way with. But Hayes last night definitely put on a show, and Mitch Fortner and Cole Dutchendorf were on the call for that one in Hayes America.
The 1-yard line, Manhattan football, down 3, no timeouts left. It was Carter Aslin to J.J. Dunnigan, a quick slant, and the Manhattan Indians go on a 2-minute drive to win the game at Hayes last night. The final score in a classic, Manhattan 34, Hayes 30, and it was not a clean game. A lot of bad penalties, kicks out of bounds, holdings, false starts. Manhattan had 3 snaps go over Carter Aslin's head. 3 turnovers for Manhattan tonight, but they still come away with the victory. Mitch Fortner alongside Cole Dutchendorf. Cole with the final numbers from last night.
And it's something we don't see very often out of Manhattan. Not very many rushing yards. On the opposite side, ton of passing yards. Carter Aslin had 8 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Hudley, 8 carries for 49 yards. 16 total carries for 109 yards. They were actually under 100 yards if you include the mishandled snaps that went over Aslin's head. So again, under 100 yards total on the ground for Manhattan, including a couple of miscues offensively. But it was through the air where Manhattan did their damage. Carter Aslin, what a night he had. 18 for 26, 323 yards, 3 touchdown passes. He did have 1 interception in the first half, but outside of that, played a very good game of quarterbacking for the Manhattan Indians. Through the air, Gabe Summerlin had 4 catches for 69 yards. J.J. Dunnigan had 5 catches for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. The game-winning one, obviously, as Mitch said, and also a 79-yard touchdown, which was Carter Aslin's longest of his career. Raylan Vikander, 2 catches for 23 yards, including a huge catch on the 2-minute drive that won the game for Manhattan. Jaden Hudley had 5 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown, and his touchdown was 78 yards. So Carter Aslin had his 2 longest passing touchdowns against Hayes. Overall, 432 total yards for Manhattan against Hayes. For Hayes, they had 351 total yards, 183 on the ground. It was Holden Lind, their starting running back, who did a bulk of his damage in the second half. He had 23 carries for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. The workhorse, Carter Graham, their quarterback, 13 for 20, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. The big damage doer on offense through the air for them was Johnny Cano. He had 6 catches, 113 yards, and a touchdown. And also Holden Lind had 2 catches for 32 yards and a touchdown, 351 total yards for Hayes.
Big win for Manhattan. They win it on the road. Again, the final score 34-30. The 4th-ranked team in 6A, Manhattan High, now 3-0. League play starts next week after a super emotional win at Hayes on Friday night. Now Manhattan is the most ultimate emotional game. It's a rivalry. The battle for the Silver Trophy is once again on the line. Manhattan at Junction City this Friday for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Pregame on K-Man here at 6:30. And what a game that is going to be. Manhattan with a nail-biter, but they win a classic. At Hayes last night, final score 34-30, and Joe Schartz now has 101 more wins than losses. For Cole Dutchendorf, I'm Mitch Fortner for Scoreboard Saturday.
Mitch Fortner hanging in there with the voice. I know he definitely had to give it his all on that last call, but an electric call at the end by Mitch as a great win for Manhattan High. 3-0 on the season. Of course, they had the big win over Free State last week, and now they hit the road to begin league play next week. They got to go to Junction City, who we'll talk about in a little bit here as we continue to go across the Centennial League. Big game, of course, last night, but a great call by our guys at the end. Opportunity after the game, of course, to talk with Coach Schartz, plus the winning quarterback and the guy who scored the winning touchdown. We'll start first with Coach Schartz.
Coach, you had me on the edge of my seat tonight. What a gutsy 2-minute drive. Let's start with the end of it, because it's 3rd and goal, 1-yard line, 7 seconds left. You're out of timeouts. So take me through the decision on to go to the quick slant and hit JJ for the game winner.
Well, the whole night we were trying to work the numbers, and we saw that we had that slant in the back on the backside wide open, and the Hayes kid was playing inside leverage, but like you said, we're at the 1-yard line, and it's JJ knew he needed to cross his face and get to the open space. We went ahead and ran the motion, and we showed the play to the left side, and they put the numbers there, and Carter knew that if the numbers were front side, he was going to go backside, and so JJ crossed his face, Carter delivered the ball, and the rest is history.
And the drive started with 1:45. You start with the holding penalty, so now you're 10 yards back with, 1:36. But Carter Aslin just had himself a career night throwing the football. He demolished his previous career high. 2 longest passing touchdowns he's ever had was tonight. What kind of poise did your senior quarterback show tonight?
Well, in the final drive, it was fantastic. And we practice 2-minute drill all the time. He's had a lot of experience at it, and you got to credit all the other kids too. O-line did a good job of keeping him clean, and the kids that were catching the ball did a nice job of understanding the situation. And you got to get the first down, stop the clock, or you got to get out of bounds. And there's tremendous effort from the kids to do both. Move the chain, stop the clock, or get out of bounds in the whole way.
How about the overall game for JJ? He had that first touchdown of 79 yards. He was a big key tonight, obviously.
Well, that's what it came down to at the end there. We didn't necessarily want to go into overtime, and we had some time on the clock. Initially, I thought after Carter went down, I thought there was only like 3 seconds. I thought we only had 1 play, and then they put some time back on the clock and went to 7 seconds. And so once it got to 7 seconds, I knew we still had 2 plays. We were going to throw it once, and then we were going to go for the win with a run if that didn't get it. But JJ had a fantastic game all around, and at the end there, we went with the 2 best players, and we come up victorious.
A couple of thoughts I have about the defense. First of all, playing against that Hayes offensive line, you'd warned me about them. They're big. What kind of battle was that tonight with your defense against their offensive line?
They attacked us the right way, like I knew they would. They have that big offensive line. They like to run the football. One of the ways to defend our offense is to keep us off the field, and wear our defense down. And they executed that game plan very well. I knew it was going to be this type of game. I didn't know it was going to come all the way down to the end, but I'm very proud of our kids. We're a little bit down at half. Had to explain to the kids that it's only 1 touchdown. We're only down 1 touchdown, and that we signed up to do hard things, and able to get their attention a little bit before we started the second half, and said, we're going to come out of here one way or the other, but our heads are going to be high, and we're going to go battle, and I think we can get this done. when Garrison got that defensive touchdown and took it in, we knew we were going to get it done.
Well, that was my next question. I mean, you mentioned you knew we were going to get it done. I mean, did you just feel like the sideline changed at that point? Because there were 3 times you had snaps go over Carter Aslin's head. You weren't catching a whole lot of breaks, and then finally Hayes kind of gave you one, and Garrison right there with a monster scoop and score.
And not only did he get the ball, he took it to the end zone, and much needed shot in the arm, and right at that moment things changed, and the belief was there, and we were going to find a way to get it done.
All right, one more. How was the locker room at the end of the game? I'm sure it was a little turn.
Well, it was fantastic. This is a heck of a win. I told the kids it's one of the highlights of my career, and to be able to execute like that down the stretch, and for them to respond when I challenged them at halftime to come out and just lay it on the line. So very proud of them. This is a fun group. They don't always like to practice, but they sure like to play the games.
All right, Coach. Junction City next week. Congratulations on the win.
All right, thank you.
I love how he used the word turn. Shout out DJ Giddens, who uses that word quite a bit when he does talk to the media. Turnt. I love that. I love how Mitch uses that word. Also, an opportunity last night to talk to the winning quarterback and the person or the man who scored the game-winning touchdown. First, here's Carter Aslin.
Take me through that final drive. Did you feel calm? Did you feel cool and collected? Nervous at all about that final drive with a minute 45 to go?
I mean, I didn't. We practice that every week. That's part of our pregame. So we've been there. We do that all the time. So I felt like I've been there before. Just stayed calm and came through.
So that final play to JJ, both teams are taking timeouts. They each want to see how the other team lines up. You still go with the same formation, but when Hayes took that timeout, what was the conversation like with Coach Schartz just about that final play?
Yeah, we had to play front side, and we were just seeing how many guys they would bring over there. And if they have one-on-one, he's going to win one-on-one every time, and then we're going to score a touchdown. It's pretty easy.
So it was the same play called in both timeouts? They weren't going to change anything?
Yeah, first play it was the same front side both times. We just checked backside based on what coverage they're running, so it worked out. They can't really cover that when you check it to the last second.
So I forget the final number. I don't have the stats in front of me, but you absolutely just crushed your previous career high in passing yards. Yeah. How good did you feel throwing the ball tonight?
Yeah, we practiced passing a lot this week. They took away the run. That's because that's one of my biggest parts of my game, so they took it away, so we had to go at them a different way, and it worked.
How good are the hands of J.J. Dunnigan?
They're pretty good. If you couldn't see it right there, they're pretty good.
All right, Carter, congratulations, and thanks for your time.
All right, thank you.
Carter Aslin after the game with Mitch Fortner. Also, now J.J. Dunnigan.
All right, J.J., congratulations on the victory. Take me through that last play, your one-on-one with the corner. What was the plan going into that play for you? Was it just you all the way?
Yeah, first off, thank you for the congratulations. And, Coach Schartz had a lot of trust in me. Me and Carter built up a lot of chemistry, worked on passing a lot. And, it comes down to just making big plays under pressure, and that's what we did. It was a perfect pass, and all I had to do was catch it.
Nervous at all on that final drive? Because you knew the ball was going to go your way.
Oh, no, I wasn't nervous at any point in the game. We're always ready to attack.
Have you always been, because I know last year you played defensive back, but, when was it in the cards to have you as a wide receiver?
I was also supposed to play wide receiver last year, but I had a cast on my left wrist, so it made it hard to catch, so I didn't play at receiver last year.
Take me through that first touchdown, 79 yards. That's the longest career touchdown, or just throw in general for Carter Aslin. You like that post route?
Yeah, I love the post route. I mean, the dude's playing off. He's looking a little nervous, so I just beat him with speed, and Carter's going to throw it out there to me.
So what was that locker room like after the game? Was that one of the best celebrations you've ever been a part of?
Oh, yeah, that was definitely the best celebration I've been a part of here at MHS. Everybody was hyped. We came, halftime we didn't come out with a lot of energy. Coach Schartz came in at halftime and gave a great speech. Got everybody fired up to, go out there and win the game. And in the end, it was great. It was amazing.
All right, JJ, congratulations on the win in Junction City next week. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
J.J. Dunnigan, game-winning touchdown with 2 seconds left in the game as Manhattan High goes to 3-0 on the season. And as Mitch mentioned, Junction City next on the docket for them. We'll now look at the rest of the Centennial League. Speaking of Junction City, they went in last night and got a huge win over the number 6 team in 6A, Wichita Northwest. That was a game that ended at 11:43 at night. They had 2 separate weather delays, but in the end, the Blue Jays pull out a 43-30 win over Wichita Northwest. So Junction City now at 2-1 as they head into league play next week against Manhattan. Washburn Rural, not so lucky last night. They had to play Platte County, a team out of Missouri.
Not a great night for the Junior Blues, who won the Centennial League last year. A final score of 49-20. Platte County takes down Washburn Rural, who falls to 1-2. How about the Trojans of Topeka High? 3-0. They shut out Wichita Southeast last night by a final of 26-0. As for Emporia, their game got called at halftime due to weather. They were leading Coffeyville by a score of 14-12 in a battle of two 0-2 teams on the season. And the Spartans up by 2, 14-12, as mentioned. But they're going to end up completing their game on Monday at 5 p.m. So we'll definitely get you a score for that next week when we see you next on Scoreboard Saturday. But coming up next, we'll dive into the NCKL, particularly Wamego and Rock Creek. Had an opportunity to talk to Wamego head coach Weston Moody after the ball game last night. That's all coming your way next here on Scoreboard Saturday here on News Radio KMAN, powered by WTC Communications.
Nurses, are you tired of spending weeks or even months finding the perfect job that matches your specialty with your ideal shift and salary? LinkedIn has improved your job search experience. Search by specialty, the shift you want to work, and the salary you want to make. Go to linkedin.com/nurses and begin searching today. That's linkedin.com/nurses.
Note, side effects may include less time finding the perfect job, working a shift that you love with a salary that can take you to St. Thomas, Jamaica, and continuous smiling because of how simple this process was.
Hi, and welcome to IKEA. How can I help?
Oh, my schedule is crazy. I just want some me time.
Maybe it's time to embrace the joy of staying in. With comfortable beds, pillow and decor, mood lighting, and so much more, you can turn your bedroom into the place to be.
Oh, sounds like a dream.
We've got you. Visit us in-store or at IKEA-USA.com/sleep to create your dream bedroom today.
Back here on Scoreboard Saturday, News Radio KMAN. Once again, really appreciate Mitch and Cole after that thrilling win for the Manhattan Indians last night. 34-30 over Hayes, the Hayes Indians. So Manhattan sitting at 3-0 now for the season. Again, Junction City coming your way next as we now dive into the NCKL. A lot of games going on last night, particularly with Wamego Rock Creek. We'll get to Rock Creek in just a moment, but first we'll start with Wamego and what a lot of people were calling the game of the week. Going to Marysville, who was 2-0 to start the season, Wamego at 2-0, two very dominant wins over Concordia and Rock Creek last week. They shut Rock Creek out 20-0. So Wamego coming in with a lot of confidence. They had to make a very long trip out to Marysville, over an hour. And a tough loss last night for Weston Moody's bunch as they go down to a very good Marysville team, 22-20, despite leading at halftime. And I had an opportunity to speak with Coach Moody following the ball game here on News Radio KMAN.
Coach, tonight, tough loss for you guys against Marysville. They're a good ball club, and they definitely made some big adjustments in the second half.
Yeah, they were doing the same thing over and over again the entire night. We did make adjustments defensively, and they were able to chop us down. And offensively, we had some chances, but turned the ball over when we needed to punch it in. So that's what, you're not going to win games when you do that.
Well, they're a team I know that runs the ball quite a bit, and your run defense is usually pretty good. What you said they just chopped you guys down? Is that pretty much what happened?
Yeah, we had a couple injuries on the D line and had some young guys stepping in. Didn't do a very good job of being fundamentally sound, and when you're facing a team that does that over and over again and runs the ball, and we don't, the end result is a loss.
Who are some of the key performers for you tonight?
Honestly, I don't know of anybody. We there was some flashes of Jackson Toops was probably our standout guy. Returned the opening kickoff. We turned the opening kickoff back for a touchdown, and after that, it kind of all went downhill. He also made some really good catches down the stretch and put us in a position to win, and we turned the ball over offensively, and we let them sustain long drives where they, drove the entire length of the field. I think we only had 34 offensive plays.
Gotcha. As you look ahead to next week, you have another very tough opponent on your schedule. Topeka Hayden's going to be coming in, and they're definitely going to be a challenge. As you look ahead to that game, what has to change from tonight's game against Marysville next week?
Man, we got to figure it out up front, because Topeka Hayden can run the football, and we got to figure it out up front on how we're going to stop them. And offensively, we got to figure out how to take care of the ball. And it's something that we did a good job of last week. The reason why we won is because we took care of the ball and we're able to make stops on defense. And this is a prime example of doing the opposite, and that equals a loss. So we got to get it turned around and figured out, and hopefully our home crowd can give us a little boost of energy and we come back out better than what we did tonight.
Well, I think I read somewhere since the start of 2021, I think you guys have only lost 3 games at home, so definitely an advantage for you. Coach, I appreciate the time. I know you're kind of stuck out in the middle of nowhere. Your connection's kind of rough, but we really appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you next week in Wamego.
Hey, thank you.
Coach Weston Moody, after his team's loss at Marysville last night. Yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble getting with Coach, but we appreciate the time, and, of course, we'll see him next week on the B1047 Carpet One of Manhattan Area Game of the Week. Myself and Troy Coverdale will be on the call for that one as they take on a very good Topeka Hayden team. Head coach Bill Arnold's team once again really playing well to start the season. They had another big win last night. Other games across the NCKL last evening. Rock Creek moves to 2-1 on the season. They blow out Bonner Springs by a final of 57-0, as Shane Sieben's team now sits at 2-1 for the season. As for Clay Center, they had a very tight game with Lewisburg last night, but in the end, the Tigers fall by a final of 23-15 as the Wildcats of Lewisburg High School move to 3-0 on the season. Clay Center falls to 1-2. We'll likely see Clay Center later on down the road this season. Concordia picking up their first win of the season last night over Abilene. Final score in that one, 37-7, as Concordia moving to 1-2 on the young season. As for Abilene, they fall to 1-2 as well. And that's it for the NCKL. So, yeah, win for Rock Creek, loss for Wamego. Busy week ahead, of course, for those two teams next week. Let's dive in a little bit into the media rankings real quick while we have a little bit of time to do it. This is obviously for last week. A lot of things could change, but you have to think Manhattan, who checks in at 4 in Class 6A for this week's media poll. You have a feeling they're probably going to go up after that big win at Hayes last night. Derby still sitting at the top. They got 13 first-place votes in 6A. Gardner-Edgerton got 2. They come in at second. Lawrence at third, as I mentioned. Manhattan at fourth. They bump up 1 spot. Gardner-Edgerton is up 2 spots in the media poll this week, while Lawrence sits at the same spot they were at last week. Blue Valley Northwest, they're up 2 spots from last week at 5. Wichita Northwest, have to think they're going down now with Junction City's victory over them last night. Lawrence Free State falls 5 spots after the loss last Thursday night to Manhattan. They sit at 7. Wichita East comes in at 8th. And then Olathe East and Topeka High. Yes, the Trojans now at 3-0 on the season. Olathe East tied with Wichita East. I don't know why they'd be tied. Well, they got 22 votes, I guess, there. I don't see how Wichita East is higher than Olathe East if Olathe East is 2-0. But, again, I'm not the one voting on these polls. But how about Topeka High? The Trojans checking in at 10. Junction City, you have to think they'll be back on the list this week after beating Wichita Northwest last night. They checked in with the most votes not to be in the top 10 in 6A this week with 16 votes. As in 5A, not a whole lot of change. Mill Valley still at the top despite their 1 loss. Blue Valley checking in at 2. They bumped up 1 spot. They got 5 votes. Mill Valley got 7. St. Thomas Aquinas checking in at 3. They're down 1 spot in the rankings. Great Bend sticking at 4. Goddard Eisenhower is up 1 spot at 5. May South is up 2 spots at 6th. DeSoto sits at 7th. St. James Academy down 3 spots after their loss last week. Baser Linwood checks in at 9. They were not on the rankings last week. They're 2-0. And Blue Valley Southwest joins the rankings this week, sitting in at 10. Hayes got the most votes out of that. Obviously now they're not going to be on that list because of the loss last night.
with 16. But Mill Valley, interesting. They got 7 first-place votes. Blue Valley comes in with 5 first-place votes. So very interesting to see where those rankings are at. And then finally, we'll check at 4A. We'll get to the rest of the rankings a little bit later on in the program. Andover Central sticks at 1. Cape of Mount Carmel is at 2. Bishop Miege, who is now 0-3, defending champs in 4A. Bishop Miege, not defending champs. Andover Central is. Bishop Miege is down to number 3. They're 0-2 on the season. Buhler comes in at 4. Wamego at 5. Have to think the Red Raiders will drop a little bit after their loss last night to Marysville. Lewisburg at 6. Chanute at 7. Wellington at 8. McPherson at 9. Lansing, who was not ranked last week, is at 10. Fort Scott got the most votes to not be on the rankings this week with 13. When we come back, we'll dive into the Big East League and hear from Riley County head coach Erik Willimon. That's all coming your way next on Scoreboard Saturday, brought to you by WTC Communications. WTC, keeping you connected with the fastest fiber network internet speeds. Get your home or business in the game with WTC online at WTCKS.com.
When it comes to towing, seeing is believing. That's why Chevy Truck's advanced camera technology offers up to 8 available cameras for 14 unique views, so you can focus on the view that really matters. Chevrolet, together let's drive. Learn more about Chevy Trucks at Chevy.com. Safety or driver assistance features are no substitute for the driver's responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner. Read the Vehicle Owner's Manual for important feature limitations and information.
Looking to invest? Start your journey by exploring exchange-traded funds with Global X ETFs. Exchange-traded funds, or ETFs for short, create baskets of stocks, bonds, and other assets that you can buy in a single trade. Global X specializes in ETFs that track emerging trends, like the rise of artificial intelligence, as well as strategies aimed to generate income potential. Visit globalxetfs.com to discover how you can get started.
We're back on here on Scoreboard Saturday, News Radio KMAN. Third segment of the program. Boy, this show always goes by so quickly. Of course, Kim Commando coming your way next from 9 to noon. Of course, K-State football tonight, a very late start. We get you started with pregame coverage at 5:30 with PowerCat Game Day. Mitch Fortner, Dr. Zach Nemechek, as Mitch likes to say, on the game. Tim Everson and Mason Voth from K-State Online. We'll have it for you at 5:30. Network coverage starts at 7:30 with a kickoff at 9:30 from Provo. First Big 12 conference game of the season. Yeah, they played Arizona last week, but that was a non-conference matchup because they scheduled that game long before Arizona was in the Big 12. As I mentioned, now on to the Big East League. Looking at some of the games from last night, our area game of the week over on our sister station, B1047, between Chapman and Riley County. And how about those Falcons and head coach Erik Willimon? His team is now 3-0 on the season. A thrilling 28-22 win in a game that was delayed by weather. And Troy Coverdale, typically I'd be down there with him, but because of some last-minute changes behind the scene, I had to stick back here in Manhattan to help out with Manhattan High football. So Troy definitely had to weather the storm, pun intended, last night. But really appreciate the work he put in, of course, sending over this discussion he had with head coach Erik Willimon from Riley County here on News Radio KMAN.
You got the opportunity in the fourth quarter specifically to get Sam going and utilize the fact that you were able to put him in and go direct snap to him for 7 straight plays. You felt that was a point where maybe you took control of this game?
Well, we knew we needed to establish the line of scrimmage, and there's no better way to do it than just putting the ball straight into Sam Allen's hand. And the line stood up. Give credit to the guys up front. You know, we had a little bit of trouble running against their fronts, getting some things figured out, but we were able to pin our ears back, and at that point in time, kind of just establish the line of scrimmage, what we had been trying to do all evening. You know, if it takes it straight 7 to Sam, then we'll take it all day long.
No doubt. And it, again, put you out to the advantage. You come back with another touchdown on your next drive and are able to put yourself out to a 2-score lead. But Chapman was pesky. they were able to fight back and make some things happen that you weren't maybe ready for defensively.
Yeah, and that's on us. I mean, our kids were in position when you look at that last touchdown play after the onside kick. We should have prepared. That's on me. Should have prepared the kids better for that. Should have called a timeout looking back at it when they kind of up in that bunch and they're kind of looking over. Just kind of took us off guard. And then for them to be able to capitalize on it, credit to them for that play. We'd actually worked on that play. We had guys in position, but again, we had some things defensively that we could have done, and that's on me as a coach to get our kids aligned. But all the credit to our kids, our offensive coaches, for being able to come back out, sustain another drive, chew up the clock, give the ball back at with a minute 20 seconds left, and then our defense to stand back up. So we actually got more comfortable when we saw them spread things out. Running against these condensed formations is not exactly one of our strengths with our athletes, and so for them to come out and go spread, we like to see that. We knew that we were taking them out of their comfort zone, and at that point in time, we felt really good about what the outcome of the game was going to be like.
Have you seen a sneak like that one for a onside kick?
I've seen it on TV, and now and credit to Coach Kreider for making that call. I mean, that's a good call, and he made the right call at the right time. So we had every opportunity to give that game away. They had every opportunity to win that game, but at the end of the day, our boys fought. They fought for 4 quarters. They didn't give up through all the adversity, and again, we were able to pull out a win in the last minute.
How long have you had a weather delay go without being able to resume? This one got into that realm, it felt like.
So the interesting story I was telling the coaches in there, my first coaching job, I was at South Gray High School, and we were at Tribune, Kansas, which was in the Mountain Time Zone, and we had a weather delay, and it went to overtime, and we didn't get back to Montezuma until 2:30 in the morning. So felt really good about this. The kids were really anxious about when we were getting ready to come out, and it speaks volumes to our kids, their integrity, their moxie, their grit, and everything that they do, all the work that they put in since we started this thing, since we started summer workouts May 31st, for them just to continue to believe in one another, and just to see this thing through. And if we can continue to do that, I like our chances.
Coach Erik Willimon after the game with our own Trey Coverdale. Hope TC's getting some extra Z's in this morning. He was definitely out for a late night last night after Riley County wins 28-22, and the Falcons now 3-0. And as we look at the media poll for Class 3A, Class 2A, Riley County is ranked this week at number 9, and we'll get into the 2A rankings here in just a second. And the 3A rankings, I want to go through just the rest of the scores in the Big East League. Holton picking up their first win of the season last night. They went on the road and played a very good Royal Valley team and beat them 32-14. If you remember last week, Riley County upset Holton at home 21-20. So good start, a good win for Holton as they go to 1-2. St. Mary's is red hot, former defending champs in 1A. The Bears take down Jeff West 42-0 last night. So the Bears of St. Mary's High School now 3-0 on the season. Nemaha Central beats Rossville 31-28. Rossville's 0-3, but they've had a real tough schedule right out of the gate. And Nemaha Central has bounced back nicely after their first game of the season where they lost. So the Thunder sitting at 2-1. Silver Lake wins a very low-scoring game against Perry Lecompton 18-12. And the Eagles of Silver Lake, who we'll see later this season on B1047, sit at 2-1 for the season. Sabetha goes to 2-1. They take down Hiawatha 35-0. Really was no contest in that one. As I know Troy, anytime I talk to him about Hiawatha, always laments that they're still not running the wing T offense. But Sabetha 2-1 on the season. But the Big East League is definitely competitive this year. You have a St. Mary's team that is 3-0. Riley County is 3-0 on the season. And you have some of the top dogs. Nemaha Central's 2-1. Yeah, that's a winning record, but you'd expect them to have a much better record. Rossville, who's a very good team, 0-3 right out of the chute. They've had a very tough schedule. Sabetha's 2-1. Perry Lecompton's 1-2. Holton's 1-2. The Big East League is going to be very competitive, and it's wide open this year. And could this be the year that the Riley County Falcons make that jump under Coach Willimon? They did 3 years ago. They had a great season. But who knows? We'll see as the season continues to go on. I told you I'd get you those 3A and 2A rankings out of the media poll. Andale stays at the top this week in first, but they got 6 votes. Cheney gets 5, Topeka Hayden, gets 4, and then Wichita Collegiate got none. Frontenac is up 3 in the media poll this week. Scott City checks in at 6. Frontenac is at 5. Marysville, who was probably going to bump up after that win over a top-rated Wamego team in 4A last night, they're up 2 spots this week. And then we have 3 teams that are on this list this week for the first time that were not ranked last week. Pratt comes in at 8, Heston at 9, and Clearwater is in at 10. All 3 of those teams 2-0. In fact, if you look at 3A, Scott City's the only one on there with a loss. They're 1-1. Everybody else up to last week is unbeaten. Rock Creek coming in close with 24. But Clay Center, they've lost the last 2 weeks. They've dropped out. They got 20 votes to get into the rankings last week, but didn't get it, unfortunately, this week. And I don't expect them to be on the list next week. As for 2A, all sorts of craziness. Norton stays at the top along with Southeast of Saline and Nemaha Central. St. Mary's bumps up 1. And again, keep your eye on the St. Mary's Bears. They were in 1A last year. They won the state championship 2 years ago in 1A. They've bumped up 1 spot. Osage City is up 3 spots. Beloit is up into the rankings this week after not being ranked last week. Silver Lake down 3, but you have to think they may bump up a tad this week. Council Grove is up 2. Riley County, as I mentioned, checks in at 9, and you have to think now they're going to bump up a little bit more. And Garden Plain comes in at 10. Humboldt was the closest to getting votes in 2A this week. But folks, it's a wide open Big East League, and it's really a wide open Class 2A right now. A lot of things could happen over the remaining weeks of the season, but a lot of fun things are ahead, and hopefully Riley County, who's one of our area teams, can continue to have success this season. When we come back, we'll talk to Frankfort head coach Nick Anderson after his team's dominant 76-0 win last evening. Also, we look at the rest of the Twin Valley League and get you the rest of the media poll and look ahead to next week. That's all coming your way next on Scoreboard Saturday, powered by WTC Communications. Final segment of the program here on Scoreboard Saturday, News Radio KMAN. Scoreboard Saturday, of course, brought to you by WTC Communications. WTC keeping you connected with the fastest fiber network internet speeds. Get your home or business in the game with WTC online at WTCKS.com. We'll have Chiefs football in Atlanta for you tomorrow night. Pregame at 6 with kickoff a little bit after 7. Chiefs looking to go to 3-0. After basically escaping by their fingernails the first 2 weeks of the season against Baltimore and against Cincinnati. And now they head down to Atlanta to take on Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, who are coming off of a win that they basically stole the other night from an Eagles team that just completely pooped the bed, I guess is the word we'll use here, late in the game. And Philadelphia's defense has been a disaster, which is crazy to me, because they have Vic Fangio as their coordinator, and as some of you know, I am a Chicago Bears fan, and Vic Fangio was the Bears' defensive coordinator the last time the Bears won the division. And safe to say, once they lost Vic Fangio, they were not the same team. So things not looking very good right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. They have a game against the Saints this week, and New Orleans, they're the talk of the NFL right now. 2-0, they've combined to score 91 points the first 2 weeks of the season. Their defense looks much better compared to last year. Derek Carr looking like his 2016 MVP finalist version the last couple of weeks. But yeah, a lot of great games on tap for Week 3 of the NFL season and Week 4 of the college football season. K-State, of course, playing later tonight against BYU in Provo. Very tough game. I've said it all throughout the week on the game that I feel like this could be a trap game for K-State. Dive now into some Twin Valley League scores, and we'll get to my conversation from last evening with Nick Anderson, who's the head coach out at Frankfort. In 11-man for Twin Valley, Centralia winning 42-6 last night over Onega as the Panthers of Centralia High School moving to 2-1. The Mustangs of Valley Heights take down Donovan West 61-14. One game that did not go final was the Blue Valley Randolph game against Casey East Christian. Blue Valley was up 30-0. There was 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and then that game got called due to weather. At this time, we don't have a completion date of when that game is going to end up happening. But when we do figure that out for you, we will let you know. Axtell, by the way, won early. That game got called due to weather, but they win 46-0 over Chase County. Axtell has now won 42 consecutive games. And then finally, Hanover moving to 3-0. They take down Washington County 52-0 in a slaughter rule. But how about Frankfort? 76-0 the final. They had to start real late last night. And I had an opportunity to talk with their head coach, Nick Anderson from Frankfort High School, after the ball game here on News Radio KMAN.
Coach, big win for you guys tonight. You win at 76-0. Ended up didn't even have to play the 4 quarters despite the delay. How were you able to keep your guys mentally ready despite the lengthy delay because of the weather?
No, that was a concern. We didn't know how our guys would react in that situation. We never had to really go through that before, but I thought they did a good job of keeping their focus and staying loose and staying off their feet. And when we took the field there that second time, you could tell they had a look in their eyes that they were ready to go. So that was very pleasant to see.
Talk about some of the key performers for you this evening in the victory.
Well, I haven't had a chance to look at the stats too much here. We were able to move the ball around and spread it around. West did a good job distributing the ball to all kinds of different guys. And defensively, we were really good. I don't think they even had a first down tonight. So that was kind of one of our goals. And so I was very happy for our defense that they were able to accomplish that.
Yeah, second straight week that you guys put 70 on the board. You put 72 on Linden last week, and then 76 tonight against Solomon. Really kind of shows how dynamic your offense is when it comes to scoring.
Yeah, like I said, we were able to score in multiple ways, and then when our young guys were able to get in, probably the last 8 minutes of the second quarter, they were able to punch it in 3 times for us as well. So I'm glad that they got the opportunity to see the field as well.
You spoke about Wes Anderson a little bit for you. How big of a leader is he for your team, especially with the young guys?
He's done a great job. He's really grown up in that area. Now that he's an upperclassman, he feels more comfortable being vocal and that sort of thing. So you always want that out of your quarterback, and he's done a great job along with some of the seniors of kind of taking hold of this team.
Gotcha. Coming up next for you is a road contest with Hanover. Obviously, you haven't looked at them a whole lot, but you're familiar with them as they're a league opponent. What are some of the things you want to take away from this win tonight and take into your game next week against Hanover?
Biggest thing from tonight is we came out healthy. We went on the road, did what we needed to, and from what I can tell, we came out of there healthy. So it's go time now. District play starts, and Hanover's a really, really good football team, and it's going to be quite the environment next Friday.
For sure. Well, Coach Anderson, we really appreciate the time, sir. Congratulations on the victory, and hopefully we can talk more down the road.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Head coach Nick Anderson. His son is Wes Anderson. Really appreciate him joining us on Scoreboard Saturday as his team moves to 3-0 on the season. Dive into the rest of the media poll rankings. In 1A, Conway Springs staying at the top, followed by Sedgwick, who's up 1 spot this week. Medicine Lodge is 3. They're down 1 spot. Jackson Heights is up 1 spot at 4. Mound Ridge is up 2 spots, followed by St. Mary's Colgan, at 6. They stay put. Rossville's going to drop down. We mentioned that they lost last night, so they're now 0-3, and they're going to fall out. Marion joining the rankings this week at 2-0. Centralia checks in at 9. They'll probably bump up a little bit. And Inman, who was not in the rankings last week, they're sitting at 10. Hoxie, I had a gentleman text us the other day and just wanted to let me know that's how it's pronounced, Hoxie. I really want to thank that guy for texting us. Really appreciate it. Still 6 at 1 in 8-man 1, followed by Little River, Wichita County, and West Elk that receive votes for the top spot. South Central comes in at 5. Sylvan Lucas Unified is up 1 spot. They were at 7 last week. They're at 6 this week. Ellis joins the rankings this week at 7. El Saline is at 8. Hill City at 9. And then St. Francis jumps into the rankings at 10. They were not ranked last week. And then finally an 8-man 2. Really no surprise at the top. Axtell, Frankfort, Victoria, and Burlingame, followed by Hanover. Dighton coming in at 6. Mineola is up 1 spot. Labo up 1 spot. Hodgman County joining the rankings this week at 9. And Buckland stays at 10. So no changes at the top this week at number 1 with Derby, Mill Valley, Andover Central, Andale, Norton, Conway Springs, Hoxie, and Axtell all sticking at 1. And if you wanted to know about 6-man, Cunningham, no change there. Cunningham stays at the top in 6-man action. For this week's media rankings, of course, the media poll comes out every single Monday. And, that's it for the rankings. Again, K-State football is tonight when they take on BYU in Provo. Again, PowerCat Game Day coverage gets you started at 5:30. Mitch Fortner, Dr. Zach Nemechek, Tim Everson, and Mason Voth on the call, a.k.a. The guy that beat me twice and stumped the Shaw. So really it's Stump the Voth. Stump the Mason, I guess, is the new name of the game. But anyway, that's going to start you at 5:30 with network coverage at 7:30. First time K-State has played BYU since the Cotton Bowl in 1997. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay dry. It's going to be raining a lot. Enjoy some football here tonight and then tomorrow. We'll see you back here next week for Scoreboard Saturday. Still don't know the time yet, as K-State and Oklahoma State's kick time has not been announced. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. And, of course, go Cats.